In yesterday's Cardfight update, I announced that we now know all the reprints within the festival collection. And today, we're gonna take a look at what these reprints actually are.
Stand up! Vanguard!
Hey Cardfighters, welcome back to another video, and in today's video we're gonna analyze the new festival collection set as we know all the new cards within that special reprint set. Because these cards are reprints, I'm not gonna do the typical videos about the set itself, so no deck profiles, no set reviews, no whatever, and you can basically see this particular video as the set review video of that set as we analyze all the new reprints, how good they are, if they're effective, and if it was any good reason to make these as the reprints for the respective clans. So without any further ado, let's jump right into these cards as there are a lot to talk about. Of course, this set had two major things besides the reprint in itself, as we got all the old starters that were introduced in the V series back in this set, but with the updated effect for the shield ticket. So if you have a fan favorite artwork of a particular card, or if you want to use a certain unit that is effective within an engine, think about Battle Riser or the one for Beast Deity or the one for Starhawk that have a special effects attached to the unit itself, then don't worry, you can now play with them with the updated skill. Sure, you can also use your old version because all these starters are errated, but to prevent confusion with newer players, or you don't want to remember that, or whatever reason that might come up with that aspect, don't worry, you can just play one of these new starters as the new skill is now printed on that card as well. So that's a nice addition. The second major thing about this set is that this set will contain all the draw PGs for every single clan. So if you wanted to pick up a clan but the draw PGs were way too expensive, then don't worry, this set got you covered, as every single draw PG trigger is now back in this set and much better accessible. They're still in double rare rarity, but these double rare rarities are much easier to pull, but at the same time they keep the nice foiling as well, so you don't have to downgrade on the rarity itself, which is a nice addition. So that were the two bulk reprint cards for every clan within this set. Now we get to the actual different reprints that are useful or not useful for the respective clan, and every single clan got two reprints. So that's a lot of reprints. They got a starter, and some clans multiple starters. They got the draw PG for every clan, and two extra additional reprints. And these reprints are either commons, rares, double rares, or triple rares reprinted. We got no VR reprints, and that is somewhat expected, as Bushiroad doesn't really reprint higher rarity cards. So we hardly saw any GR reprinted, and when they did reprint a GR, they made it that it was really hard to pull the reprint as well. So it was very obvious that they weren't gonna reprint the older VRs. But they did get some triple Rs, which is nice. So we're gonna do the reprints in clan order as well as the nation order. So we're gonna start with United Sanctuary with Royal Paladin. And Royal Paladin got the reprints for Gordon as well as Marin. And these are, it depends on what your playstyle is or what direction you want to take, if the reprint is nice or not. Gordon is a relative new triple R, so it isn't really that needed, and it's also very linear in very concise in how many players actually use it. It's because if you do not use the Blaster Blade or Ganslot build, there might be a limited use for him. But Marin, however, is an actual viable card in a lot of strategies, and it's a very old double R, so it might be hard to get your hands on that card. So the Marin reprint is a warm welcome. The Gordon, not so much, but it's at least a triple R that's now easier to get, as it's now in rare voiling, as all these reprints are rares for this set. The second clan that we have is Oracle Think Tank, and Oracle Think Tank is really strange because we've got the reprint for Rectangular Magus and Fumino. What's the point of these reprints? Fumino was, I believe, a common, if not a rare. There are way enough copies of that in circulation. Same as with Rectangle Magus. Yes, the card is powerful and useful, but it was a trial deck card that was included into total of 4 copies per trial deck. So there are probably enough in circulation. Then again, the trial deck might be out of print, it might be out of stock. So if somebody wanted to pick up the deck and all the cards are already in somebody else's possession and nobody's selling them, Then at least this add more to the circulation, but I don't know if it actually was that necessary, as it was basically a common. Then after Oracle Think Tank, we dive into Angel Feathers, and Angel Feather got the reprints for Metatron and Haste the Deal. Both are actually very important key pieces for Angel Feathers. Metatron, just awesome. It's an old triple R, out of print, hard to get. It's nice to get reprint because it's still very useful to this day, even with the new Malkuth Malek VR. So that's nice. Haste the Deal was a rare, if not a common. Not sure, I think it was a rare. But it's again a very important piece, as it can be used in all types of builds for Angel Feathers, as it allows you to swap cards. It works with the old VR, and it can even work with the new build for Malkuth Malek. And I think I even talked about or touched upon it in my deck spotlight for Malkuth Malek, but I'm not 100% sure if it was in one of the builds. But it's always useful. Might not have been needed to reprint it, but it's easier now to attain for newer players, so that's fine. Then next up, we get the Shadow Paladin, and I think these are the most impactful reprints that we have in the entire set, as Bushrod actually reprinted Skull Witch Nemain and Blackwing Swordbreaker. Yes! The two most important triple Rs in the entire clan, in the entire V-series, and which are probably one of the most expensive triple Rs. This is what Shadow Paladin needed the most. These were the two cards that needed to reprint, because these two cards can work in any build, any strategy, any budget build. The only problem was they were way too expensive because they're triple Rs, they're from older sets, so they're out of print, out of stock, and nobody can get their hands on them unless they're gonna open up their wallet and pay like 15 to 20 bucks a piece. This will probably lower them to maybe $1 or $2. Because they're just rares, there will be enough to flood the market, and this also allows Shadow Paladin to now have that budget build around the 5k units, because we had grade 2s and grade 3s that were commons and rares that centered around 5k power units, but it couldn't be a budget build because Nemain and Swordbreaker were way too expensive. This will make Shadow Paladin a much more accessible clan for anybody. Even in premium, because these cards were also staples within the premium build with Luard. So this is very nice. Then from a very nice reprints, we go to some questionable reprints. As for Gold Paladin, we've got Vivian and Dindrain. Dindrain, again, was a common or a rare. I believe a rare. Again, I keep forgetting the difference between which cards were the common or which was a rare. But Dindrain is a very important card for Gold Paladin and probably will be for a long time. But because it was a low rarity, there are probably way than enough cards in circulation, and the card wasn't expensive. Maybe $1 max. Vivian, however, yes, is an old triple R, but we got better cards than Vivian right now, and we're probably going to get even better cards later down the line, and a lot of people even scrap Vivian from their build, so I'm not sure if it's an actual useful reprint. It's a triple R reprint, so I'm not complaining, but people that want to pick up Gold Paladin probably know the answer for themselves, is if they're happy or not with Vivian as a reprint. Then from Gold Paladin, we go to Genesis, and Genesis got a reprint for Satarihime and Witching of Cats Kumin. Kumin was a rare. Again, don't know why they reprinted her. Yes, she has some nice shenanigan plays with the potential deck out and whatnot, but I don't think we had a shortage of copies. And Satarihime is a nice card, and it was an old triple R, but I don't know if it was needed to reprint the card. So I'm not sure if it's a good reprint. Again, it's a triple R reprint, so we cannot complain. But I'm not sure if this was the card they needed to reprint for Genesis. I'm not too familiar with how Genesis is working and what is needed and what not. So you guys decide for yourself if you're happy with that or not. Then again, we get to a insane reprint duo for Kagero as we enter the Dragon Empire, because Kagero got the reprint for Ermo and Dragon Newt. Again, two important engine pieces that are two triple Rs that are now getting reprinted. Ermo was the oldest triple R from back in VBT01, and Dragon Newt was from VEB07, I believe, where the Great was introduced. Again, also a very expensive and important card for the whole Kagero line that are basically staples for the clans. This is again a reprint duo that the clan needed to break it open, so allowing newer players or budget players to get access to important cards so their decks actually will function. So this is a really nice sight again. Then from Kagero we go to Nubatama, and Nubatama got the reprint for Magatsu Gale, and we've got the reprint for, I believe, Togajujo, if how you pronounce that. The promo for Nubatama. I'm not familiar with the promo, if it's actually needed, if it actually was viable or was an important piece. It is a promo, so it was already harder to get, so it's nice that we now get an easier reprint, but I'm not sure if it was an important card. Magatsu Gil, however, is an older triple R and is a draw engine within a clan that barely has any draw potential, and it also bounces cards. So it's a very flexible card, and it's nice to see it back in a reprint set, because it probably will be used in a lot of different builds. And I even tried to put it into some budget builds, but I eventually had to scrap it because it was too expensive, and now I don't have to do that in future Nubatama lists, so that's very nice. Then from Nubatama, we go to Tachikaze, and for Tachikaze, we've got Mega Rex and Leciter Rex. Leciter Rex is a very flexible card, sees a lot of play, but again, it was a rare, not sure if it was needed to reprint that card, but fine. Mega Rex, however, older triple R, so that's already big plus points, and it's actually viable in whatever strategy you are applying, because it's just a nice beat stick that also can devour your own unit, so it synergizes with the mechanic of the clan. So yeah, I think this is a solid reprint to have Mega Rex back as a rare, easier to get reprint card. Then from Tachikaze, we go to Murakumo, and Murakumo got one of the most insane reprints because of the sheer value of the card was. Because Murakumo got the reprint of Meomaru. That card, for some reason, was at some point $50 a piece. Now, it's a rare reprint that will probably be $1 or $2 a pop. That's really, really good. But then, we also got the reprint for Million Red. Again, a rare, which I don't know why they reprinted that. I don't think we needed a reprint of Million Red. Meomaru, however, we needed that. But then again, now that Meomaru is widely accessible to everybody, Premium is not looking good once Nue hits. So when Premium Collection 2020 hit, and with Meomaru widely accessible, oh boy, prepare yourself. With Murakumo out of the way, we go to the last clan of the Dragon Empire series as we enter Narukami. And Narukami got two very solid reprints, as we got the reprint for Death Size, a triple R, which is viable in whatever strategy you apply because it's a Soul Blast bind target and it can be a nice beater. So that's really nice to see a reprint. And we got Rising Phoenix. The double R, that's probably the most important card in the entire clan. It's a 3+ that keeps recalling itself, so it could potentially multi-attack. It's a nice beater, and it just wants to be placed at 4 copies in every single build. Yeah, that's the reprint they needed. So that's very nice, Bushroad. Very nice indeed. Then from the Dragon Empire, we go to the Stargate as we enter Nova Grappler. And Nova Grappler got a reprint for 2 triple rares as well, as we got Kick Kick Typhoon and Claydol Mechanic. Both are relatively new triple Rs, I believe even from the same set. And yeah, both are very nice reprints. Claydol Mechanic, a very generic counter charge engine, which is always nice. And Kick Kick Typhoon is probably the best restander the clan has access to. So it's also nice that this now will be a rare, so budget players can actually play with the card and add on multi-attack potential in their deck. So that's really nice. The next up, we've got Dimension Police. And Dimension Police also got some high rarity reprints, as they got a reprint for Platina Ace and Die Brave. Both very solid reprints, as Platina Ace just give free pressure, crit pressure, power lanes, and Die Brave gives you unhit draw potential, power up potential. So both of them are really nice reprints, so any DP player can upgrade their deck with some nice power lane goodness. Then from DP, we go to the new Link Joker reprints, and this basically confirms that they're gonna go all in on Messiah, as they got the reprint for, I believe, Thundering Foot Monk or something in that vein, and we've got Destiny Dealer. Both of them are high rarity reprints, that's nice. The Thundering Monk Foot thing card, whatever it was, has a nice on-hit skill, if I'm remembering correctly, with the whole counterblast and unbind something from your opponent's field, so that's really nice. But Destiny Dealer is probably the more important one here, as it allows you to pluses, it allows you to put more locks into the field, so it synergizes with your whole Messiah mechanic. So that's nice that card now is a low rarity reprint. So newer players that want to come into Link Joker once the new set with Messiah hits have a more accessible entry point thanks to these reprints, which is really, really nice. Then from the Stargate, we go into the Dark Zone with Spike Brothers. And Spike Brothers got the reprint for Spike Bouncer and Gyro Slinger. Both of them are very widely accessible cards and are pretty generic. Spike Bouncer is just 3 pluses. Allows you to flood the board, which is basically what Spike Brothers want to do, to be very aggressive right at the get-go. And it was an older triple R, so probably harder to get unless you have money to spend. Now you don't have to do that. And Gyro Slinger, similar thing, allows you to call multiple cards to the field, even full out your soul. Not sure how many players are actually playing the card anymore at this point, but it still is a solid card that allows for some early game potential and might actually find its way in future builds once we get more Spike Brothers support, when maybe Rising Nova makes its way into Standard. Then next up we've got Dark Regulars, and both of them are actually pretty good reprints in my opinion, because they got the reprints for Emblem Master and Doreen the Thruster. Emblem Master is one of the best soul charge engines you can get, as it selectively soul charges multiple cards, which is pretty good. And Doreen the Thruster is basically the power card that allows you to hit insane lanes. This card is used in Premium with the whole Castile build, so it's a 4-off, or at least an obvious include. And even in Standard, this card can be slotted into any build to just increase your power level, because it just can generate insane numbers. So yeah, really good reprints, as Doreen itself is already a pretty old card for as Standard goes. Then from Dark Regulars we dive into Pillmoon, as Pillmoon got one insane reprint and one very questionable reprint, as they got the reprint for the Silverthorn promo, which didn't work in Silverthorn and was basically support for Gunslue Dragon, which is a deck that doesn't exist because the VR doesn't exist, because the VR is that trash. But the other reprint that they got is Purple to Pieces. Purple to Pieces is probably one of those staple cards that will always be useful and can always be splashed in whatever type of build Pillmoon comes up with, their whole soul engine and multi-tech potential. So it's nice that they now reprint this older triple R, which can be really expensive. So yeah, that is really, really nice. Then for Gear Chronicle, we can basically skip over this one because they got the reprint for Steam Mechanic Naboo and Quickie Worker. A rare and a common. I get that they reprint these cards because Naboo is so generic, it's draw potential. Yes, you can say guard restrict, but you're not playing it for that. It's soul engine, draw potential. It's really nice for that. And Quickie Worker is basically an essential card that's a 4-off, or at least multiple copies in whatever build Gear Chronicle plays, because of the whole Raid 4 thing. But there probably were enough in circulation for anybody that ever wanted to pick up Gear Chronicle. So I'm not sure why they reprint these cards. I guess I can understand why, because all these reprints are from sets that came out in 2019 and 2018. Chrono Tiger Rebellion set, the Astral Force, came out in 2020. Because if you ask me, the better cards to reprint were Chrono Tooth Tigar and Steam Scar Air Cup. And that's because, yes, they are relative new cards, but those prices are ridiculous. But if they can only go for the Answer of Truth set, then yeah, Naboo and Quickie Work are basically the only options you have left. Because Wedge Move Dragon Kid is not important anymore thanks to the upcoming Chrono Jet trial deck. Then from Gear Chronicle we dive into the deep seas for Magallanica, as we start with Grand Blue. And Grand Blue got two really spicy good reprints. First off, they got Greed Shade. If you have same as set review for Grand Blue, yeah, that is a card that Grand Blue needs. Now that they have easier access to, pretty good, as it's probably the best card they can ask for. So yeah, that's a good reprint. Then the second reprint they got is Dandy Guy Romario. Again, an older triple R that is so generic that can be splashed in any build, and probably a lot of Grand Blue players, if they have the room, really want to play this card, as it can set up your plays. So having now a rare version of Dandy Guy Romario is really, really nice. Then next up we've got Bermuda Triangle, and Bermuda Triangle is in an awkward spot, as yes, they have some high rarity cards that might or might not need to reprint it, but it's either VRs or triple Rs, and also because they have so many different archetypes, if you select one from a specific archetype, you might leave other Bermuda players in the shadows or in the dust, or you basically alienate them. So they had to choose generic cards. So they went with Chocolate Love He Leaves a Lot and Special Message Core. Both are from the trial deck, but it's an older trial deck, which probably are out of print, out of stock, and both of them are so generic that they are almost played in every single deck when they have the room for it. Leaves a Lot, basically in every deck. Or Core or Aurora, I think I said Core, I mean Aurora is played whenever you have room in your grade 1 slot, as they are that good. So printing them now, so they're more easier to access to, I think is fine. It's probably the only choice they have to make sensible reprints for Bermuda Triangle at this point. Then for Aqua Force, we again go to a double triple R reprint, as they have the reprints for Coral Assault and Wheel Assault. They're really in for the Assault, but not Tidal Assault. And both of these reprints, in my opinion, except for Tidal Assault, are really good reprints. Coral Assault, again, is a very generic card that can be splashed in any build, even in the new Revan build that isn't really about the multi-tech itself. It's used widely, but the same is for Wheel Assault. It can function in any build that Aqua Force might throw at us. So I think it's a very solid reprint to give these cards, even though they're the newest side. Yes, you can say maybe Elgos or Tidal Assault, but Elgos was from a trial deck, so there probably are more copies available than just the Trip Bars. And Tidal Assault is probably the third one. It was either Tidal Assault, Coral Assault, or Wheel Assault that they should reprint. They got 2 of the 3. I think we shouldn't complain. So yeah, Aqua Force, I think you're pretty happy with that one. From the deep sea, we go into the Forest of Cray as we see big insects, as we have the reprints for Mega Connolly. And Mega Connolly got 2 very solid reprints, as they got the reprints for Machining Mantis and Machining Hornet. The most important cards for not only the Machining archetype, but also just Mega Connolly in general, as they are so generic, search at the Great Freeze, and do what you want to do for the clan. So I'm very happy that they reprint these cards, as these cards basically made the machining budget deck that I made back when the previous set hit for Mega Connolly, made it expensive, but they were needed to make that build. Now with these reprints, that is an actual budget deck, so I'm very happy with that fact. So yeah, really solid reprints. Then from Mega Connolly, we go into Great Nature, and Great Nature got the reprint for Binoculus Tiger, and you would expect Monoculus Tiger for the second one, but they got the Wombat. The promo Wombat. And for anybody that was just like me, that were like, what's that card? Does that exist? I've never seen it before. This was basically the promo card from the whole promo package, and it's a different Tank Mouse. It's basically the same skill as Tank Mouse, but instead of paying a counterblast, it retires itself so you can fetch it to hand. A Wombat is, in my opinion, equal to a mouse, but the mouse has a tank, so I think that the Tank Mouse wins over this Dr. Wombat thingy. So I'm not sure if that was a needed reprint. But Oculus Tiger was. That card is insane, is really strong, is an older triple R, so it's nice that we see a low rarity reprint for that card as well. So I think Great Nature cannot complain, at least for that reprint. Wombat maybe. Tiger, no. And then with Great Nature gone, we arrive with the last clan, which is Neo Nectar. And Neo Nectar got questionable reprints. The first one was Sunlight Garden Guide, and the second one is Fruit Basket Elf. And if you're feeling disappointed by seeing those 2, I won't disagree with you, because I was as well, as Sunlight Garden Guide was an important card back in the day when the card was revealed, only for the reason that we didn't have any other support cards for the tokens. Now with basically 2 extra support waves with even more token generation, Sunlight's Garden Guide is basically already removed from the deck and is not really that useful anymore. So there's no reason for that to be reprinted, even though it was a promo. And then for Fruit Basket Elf, it was an older rare that is not hard to get and probably didn't need to reprint it. So yeah, Neo Nectar players are probably not the happiest of all the other clans. And that basically wraps up all the reprints in this set. I think a lot of clans are very happy with the reprints, because most clans got at least 1 triple R reprint, some clans got a triple R and a double R reprinted, and a few clans really lucked out and got 2 triple R reprints, which are important key pieces for their respective clans. As Bustroad really hit a lot of staple cards for their respective clans. So I think this set is a success in reprints. As unlike older versions of a revival collection or reprint set, they usually tend to have only a couple of hits, but mostly misses. We've seen this in Revival Collection 1 and Revival Collection 2, that there are like a handful of cards that are the chase cards in that set, that everybody that playing that clan wants to get, and all the other clans or all the other players like, my clan got trash, and what are these older promos that I'm not gonna use anymore? This case, I think only a handful of clans are actually not interested in this set, and I'm talking about Nectar, for example. That's probably one of the clans like Gear Chronicle, also one of the more on the downside of what it is. Genesis probably also not the best of reprints, and Oracle Think Tank is also one of those clans that doesn't have the best of reprints. But then we take a look at the good reprints, and I mean, Shadow Paladin has a field day, Kagero has a field day, even Nubatama has some solid reprints, Narukami has some really good reprints, Spike Brothers got some reprints, Dimension Police got a really good reprint, and even Grand Blue, Aqua Force, and Mega Colony got some really, really solid reprints. So that's a lot of clans with a lot of solid reprints, and with also the Draw Trigger PGs on top of this, is probably making this the best reprint set that Bushiroad ever created. And I think I can basically say that that's facts. Not opinion, facts. But now I want to know, what do you guys think of this reprint set? I'm gonna pull out a poll here to know what your guys' opinions about this set is. Are you happy? Are you satisfied? Are you dissatisfied? And do you hope that maybe in 1 or 2 years we can see again such a big reprint set? And then maybe with the Sentinel crits, for example, as that will maybe be the next all the big raids at a time when we maybe get another festival collection set. And who knows, maybe we get another pandemic around the corner and then cancels the event, so Bushiroad is forced to bring it worldwide. Yeah, let's not hope that that's a thing. But that's basically everything for me today. Let me know in the comments down below which clans you're the most happy about reprint. Which cards are you the most happy to see as a low rarity reprint so you can get access to them for a cheap buck, probably $1 or $2. Or which cards are you dissatisfied? Because there are a few stinkers in this set, but they are far and few in between. As always, this video has been brought to you by our lovely patrons over at patreon.com/Vanguard Insider. You guys are amazing. If you do want to support the channel or everything that's happening on the channel, then head over to patreon.com/Vanguard Insider and become a Patreon today. But with that said, I'm Mr. Time Leap, and I see you guys in the next one!